Hey everybody, welcome to KUAF's The Lunch Hour, presented by George's Majestic Lounge Happy Hour. We have Honey Collective here with us today, and my boy Ethan, and we're excited to start the show. You guys are from Fayetteville, but now you guys live in New York City.
Yeah, you could say that.
How is that? How has that transition been?
It's been interesting. I've been doing a lot of writing in the last couple of years and expanding. We visited New York, had a show there. It was really awesome. And we've just been trying to like slowly make our steps toward growth as Honey and like what that means for us. And so far, it just means us like slowly making our way up to the Northeast and trying out a new space.
Okay. I'm curious as to the like collaboration process, like distance, you know what I mean? Because I think, Matt, you're still here, right? You're still local.
No, not quite.
No, you're not.
No, sorry, not quite. I actually, I live in Tulsa now.
Tulsa, okay.
Local enough.
Yeah. Local how is that like collaboration process? Like working together, writing together, like creating music?
So there are certainly some digital tools that are really helpful.
Okay.
And well, first of all, man, shout out Mixim. Like there's a software called Mixim that is incredible for collaborating on Logic that they're not updating anymore. So if you're watching Mixim developers, we would pay for this.
Yes. Wait, what's so good about this program?
So basically it just is like, you know how when you have like a Dropbox upload, there's sometimes like file like records and like version history and stuff.
Yeah.
This is basically that, but integrated with like Logic files, which for the listener, like Logic is a digital audio workstation. So basically you can additively record stuff in different locations really easily. You can still do that without the benefit of like that really effective like cloud integration.
Yeah.
However, it's not as easy. So Mixim. Well, we pay money. For
Yeah, and we recently just started a Slack, which is like normally just for work.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like very we're Slack is that's like very work now. It's like
So yeah, those combined, and then even before that, before we back in 2020 would literally just share like voice memos and like bounce them back and forth. Like Jordan would send a voice memo, I would put something on top of that, put it in Google Drive, and then we would just kind of like work it out organically, and then it grew into using Mixim and Slack and all the things.
I'm curious how this started. Like, how did the Honey Collective start?
Oh, good question. So
Honey Collective started back in 2018. Walter and I were both in the percussion program at the U of A, so that's how we met. And as we started like talking and hanging out, we just realized that we had a lot of similar interests as far as music went. Like jazz, R&B, hip hop, that kind of thing. And nobody else around here was really doing that. So it was kind of easy to get that started, like fill that niche. So we brought Erica on along with Erica Maya and Austin Wilkins on bass. And we've just been playing ever since.
Wow. That's super dope.
Yeah. You've been in New York a year, Jordan. And how long have you been there, Erica?
And I've been there for, I don't know, three weeks? Almost a month?
Okay.
Almost a month, so very new. Yeah.
So I guess it probably hasn't started to bleed into your sound yet, or maybe it has. Any influences?
I think it was always bleeding into our sound, just because, you know, like Jordan said, the type of music we play is not as well represented down here, at least not yet. So we'll see though. I mean, hopefully we're gonna play there. We did play a show last October, and I was surprised how well received it was. I mean, we played for the same crowd for a couple years now, which is great, and we have some great fans here. But there's something to be said about being a little fish in a big pond. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like,
What's the process for like creating like albums? Like, are you guys like do you guys have an album out already, or just singles?
We're singles right now.
I would say we're like in album recording mode at the moment. Like we have a lot of unreleased tracks that we just are like working on layering on at the moment.
Yeah, workshopping them. We play a lot of them live right now to kind of get reactions on like how we play it, what's different, and then take that into the studio.
Okay.
Do y'all find yourself making music to play in the live setting, or do you play it and then change it for the live setting?
I would say since me and Jordan have like our like connection has always been rooted in performance. And we were not very good at recording when we started. Jordan's a heck of a lot better now, and I'm slowly getting there. But like, I mean, when you go to music school, like all you do is like you just think about getting better at your instrument all day, right? So like, I think the collective is rooted in a like performance tradition, maybe more so than like your indie DIY bedroom pop artist would be. That being said, I think we're getting more experimental with our recording techniques every day. Working with different collaborators, you know, like bringing on just different sounds. So our sound design is definitely like evolving every year, and every new, you know, synthesizer Jordan gets.
The sound, that's super interesting because you guys, like, your sound is very eclectic. Like, it's like there's a lot of moving parts. Like when I've seen you guys perform, there's like so many moving parts, like, and you know, your set. And so I'm curious, like, how do you make like so many different sounds like gel together so well? Like there's, I mean, you mentioned it, like there's elements of like hip hop, like R&B, like pop, like jazz, like so many different sounds that like you guys like weave in and out of like throughout a song or throughout a set. Like how do you make those like gel?
Meeting up and like working these songs out. I think one of the interesting things is like a few of the songs that we have and we've had for a while that Erica wrote were like she like you wrote them on a ukulele. Like Memento. And like that's probably one of our most intense sound design songs. Like there are so many sounds that we've added to it. But it started with like 2 chords on a ukulele. Wow. And so that's just like something that I feel like we're able to do based on our influences.
Yeah.
And something else that kind of happens in our live sets and also will happen on the record is kind of bouncing between genres a little bit. Like there's a track on the record that is this kind of spacey, almost like indie rock kind of song. There's like, you know, what you'd expect, like jazz and hip hop inspired R&B stuff. And I think part of that and having that feel like still consistent within the band, that's something that I've kind of come to believe is that people can genre hop and stuff, but it will the unifying factor is like the people who are working on it, and like all of our sensibilities are present in everything we do, kind of regardless of like the genre or style of what's going on.
I love that because I feel like a lot of people box themselves into the sound that they feel like they're supposed to make. And that ultimately like makes really stale music that I don't want to listen to. So
that also just gets like so boring. Like
absolutely,
I can't play like one sound. You know, like I gotta play everything.
Yeah, practice is always Jordan. Like he'll pick up like a banjo randomly. Like what if we did? And I'm like, really? But it works. It always works, which is funny.
I think also like something that's interesting is that we all maintain lives and outside of the collective, and our self-worth is not wrapped up in the success of the collective yet. Now, if we start touring and go worldwide, yes, Honey Collective do or die. But you know what I mean? But like for now, it's like we have full-time jobs. We play with other artists, and I actually think that's good.
Yeah.
And I think that makes us better people, and that means that whenever we meet and wherever we play, like that's what we're doing, and that's what we're pouring our creativity into.
Yeah.
That was going to be like one of my next questions was just like kind of how do you balance the like solo things versus a group? Because I know a lot of you, like I know you got a bunch of solo projects. I know you're trying to work on some, and y'all got like stuff. Like how do y'all like manage those things? Like all right, this is when I need to do this or whatever.
I feel like to Walter's point, music is very intentional for all of us, and it always has been. It's never been something that's just like, you know, it's gonna have fun and do this. I mean, it's fun, but like. Yeah, I'll write a song and I'm like, is this for me? Is this for Honey?
Yeah.
Is it, what is it? You know, we kind of just work it out. Yeah.
Are there or have there been challenges in that, like in making that work? Does that make sense?
Have we ever fought?
Sometimes Jordan and I get in like chord related.
Chord related.
Yeah.
We got the Harmony Bros here.
Yeah.
Like that's not the right harmony for that part. Like,
It's never come to blows. So, we'll see how this week goes.
If you had to give me 5 words to describe your sound, could you do that?
That's a good question.
Esoteric?
No.
I think the better question would have been, how have other people described our music?
It's funny, there's all sorts of algorithms online that classify your music for you, and this EP that we released that is no longer online was classified by Google as like avant-garde jazz or something. Or like you Google it, like you Google yourself all your time. That's part of being an artist, and you know, Google will say this is what genre that artist.
And Google has said
Google
you
was
guys
like, Honey
are.
Collective was avant-garde jazz, and we're like, really? It's funny.
I'm curious about independent jazz.
Indie jazz for short.
Indie jazz. Okay, that makes more sense. The independent like put like emphasis on like when I think of independent, I think of like, you know, well you are doing it. You're not signed to a record label or anything.
Yeah.
Are you guys?
No.
No. Okay. So, but jazz, I don't think about jazz as independent for some reason.
Yeah, I think the word jazz has a lot of stigma, and we could do a whole podcast on jazz.
What do you mean?
Man, there's jazz means a lot of things to a lot of people.
Jazz is more of a concept
and
less of a genre.
I think
Meet us back here tomorrow and we'll do the whole podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of people, it's helpful to think of jazz as like creative improvised music. Like,
wow.
But jazz is also like black music, and jazz is also like a lot of things, and a lot of people think jazz is swing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm not going to get into that now. That's a music school brain coming out right there. But like, I think when Jordan says jazz, it's like we improvise and we create things on the spot. So that's how I identify with our jazz. Because like, we don't play swing music, obviously, but we do create new moments every time we go on stage.
Yeah. That's super dope. Okay, I want to ask, like, how is it? I mean, you mentioned like jazz being black music, and then you're a black woman, like leading this group, like singing and stuff. And like, I want to ask, like, how is that for you? Like operating in this, like, and all of you guys, like, you guys are like mixing these like different genres and like operating in this space that's like not colorless, but like you're operating in a space that's like.
I think we have always played with intention behind our music, and I think the influences that we are inspired by, well, I wouldn't call them influences, but we care a lot about climate and about social justice and a lot of other big issues, and those make their way into either the lyrics that I write or the sounds that we use or the samples that we take, and it's always like very intentional and with a purpose. It's never just like this thing, like one of the songs Memento that Jordan mentioned we haven't released, but we actually have like sound clips from like various reports on climate change and those sorts of things that we.
All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Again, this is KUAF's The Lunch Hour, brought to you by George's Majestic Lounge Happy Hour and Honey Collective. Thank y'all so much for stopping by, and we'll see y'all soon. Thank you.